There it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for another episode. All of you insurance pros out there, we are about to get started. We have another great episode lined up for you as always. But before we jump into the show, a quick reminder to please subscribe on whichever platform it is that you're catching us on. Give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe, and drop a review and help other like-minded insurance agents find value from our awesome guests as we rise up in those podcast rankings. We're really appreciate it. And if you want to be a guest on the show, I would love to have you on and to learn from you. Go to www.insurancebroshow.com/guest and schedule your time slot. And don't forget to follow me on all my social media at Insurance Bro Show. All right, here we go. We're so excited, so honored to bring you another incredible guest onto the Insurance Bro Show. Our guest today has a true passion for the insurance industry, and he's excited about the way that technology has changed our space. You can definitely say that our guest is an insurance geek, seeing as he's a regular contributing author for Insurance Nerds, insnerds.com, for those of you who are unaware. On top of that, our guest is a consultant for the award-winning fintech startup Fineo, a company that is revolutionizing insurance for financial planners. Our guest has a particular appreciation for startups, and he's found his niche in working with these brand new companies, especially those that are building tomorrow's insurtech. So, coming to us today from sunny Southern California, joining us from Newport Beach Insurance Center is a digital strategist, insurtech startup geek, podcaster, and author. Welcome to the show, Brett Fulmer!
The Insurance Bro Show is a podcast for agents who want to grow their agency and be titans of the insurance industry. Learn from a panel of experts who share their agency struggles, their experiences with the nation's best carriers, and share the marketing secrets that successful insurance agents are using today. Now, here's your host, the Insurance Bro, James Cias.
All right, Brett, dude. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for joining us today.
It's been too long, sir. I appreciate the chance to reconnect, and thanks for helping me out, giving me some opportunities at the insurance game in the past. But good to see you, James.
Yeah, no, it's really good. It's really good. So a little bit of background here. Brett was a pipeline agent with us for a little while there. He spent a few months with us, and ended up learning what you learned, and it looks like you went and started your own agency. Am I getting that right? Newport Beach, is it yours?
Yeah, so what had happened was I was kind of just putting my toe in the water with insurance. At the time, I was doing office relocation sales, and I thought if I can insure the building, I know where the project was going to go. Mm-hmm. And so, I work with James and the guys at Pipeline, always so helpful and really cool, and the setup was awesome. But then eventually got a full-time insurance job. So that's when I jumped out of the system. I kind of felt like I wanted to cut my teeth a little more, get a little mentorship. And I'd be lying if I said the paycheck too wasn't a little appetizing to kind of get started there. But yeah, thank you guys for, giving me a good platform to, get going in the business and give it a shot, So.
Well, I'm really happy to see that you have progressed as much as you have. When you started with us, tell me if I'm right. Were you just brand new into the insurance industry, had just gotten licensed?
Super green. I had placed a few policies through a friend's, office, but that wasn't, great people. And he told me at the front, he's like, I'm not going to be able to help you out much. It's on you what you can make of it. And I was like, totally fine. Thank you for letting me hang my hat, Mm-hmm. So I did a few personal lines, a few commercial deals, but hopping in with you guys gave me that full spectrum agency management system, Radar, could kind of see it end to end. And that was really when I sort of pivoted where I knew that's what I wanted to do full time, and I really enjoyed the industry, because before I was trying to live in both worlds, but you guys gave me the opportunity to really, want to jump in kind of head first, and I appreciate that.
Hell yeah. So what happened when you did dive in head first? I mean, I'm seeing a lot of growth from you. You're running an agency, you're getting involved in all of these different startups. I'm reading articles that you've written, articles about you, and the things that you are doing in the commercial space. Tell me a little bit about how you've grown. It's been probably, about 2 years, I'd say?
Yeah, I'd say 3 years maybe.
2-3 years.
Yeah. So, and I'll give the candid like full background, just because, was it 10 years to be an overnight success? And we always see
sounds
like
about right.
the Instagram version where everything's clean, right?
Yep.
So working through pipeline, getting a few deals, get some good training there, decided to go full time. I dropped a little pay to take that job, did it for about a year, was leading in sales, but still wasn't profitable as an agent. So the owner dropped my pay down to what my book was worth. So I went from like lucrative 40s to 20s a year, which is
hell no.
a little rough. Yeah, not gonna lie. It wasn't very fun. So then I took a job at what I thought was InsurTech, was kind of a leads company. And if I knew what I was getting into, cool. Like there's different needs for the space and they're kind of met in different ways. But I was just kind of beat up by brokers for like 6 months, 8 hours a day. And then I got recruited to a spin-off, HR supplemental benefits that got me my life health license. And the job ended up being kind of different than predicted. My buddy recruited me, was kind of a dick. And then I was like, screw it, I'm going to see what I can do on my own. I'd bartended before, worked in restaurants before, so I just started bartending more. And with that personal line sales experience, I was able to bring some personal lines in, but I didn't realize how slow the commercial would be. So for a year and a half, cut my teeth at a buddy's benefits brokerage. But I had an older buddy who lost a great job about 2 years ago, worked for a micromanager for about 9 months, but really wasn't great. And so when I decided to do my own thing, InsurTechs were really the ones that would open doors to me. It's really hard to get connected with carriers. That's why you need like a pipeline, to
Right.
train you and help you get going. So I became friends with InsurTechs because they would, let me write business. And, so I got started there. If we rewind 5 years, I helped a data visualization startup in like the mid 2015s, and that gave me my little startup bug. I brought in their first revenue. That gave me some experience. And, rewind a couple months ago, decided to get back into the brokerage game with my buddy Ed, and that's where we are today. So I got my InsurTechs to help, spend half my time building the brokerage. Ed's running the brokerage, which is super nice. So that way I can sell service and help the InsurTechs. And he's got it covered on the ops side,
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
That's
So that's
right.
it.
We're launching, man.
Yeah, and that's the, I will say the thing you go through to get to where you want to be. It's not always like a direct line, so
For sure, no.
catch up. Yeah.
Like you definitely went this way and then kind of back a little bit and then had to go back up and, but it's gotten you to where you are now. And, like I said, it's really exciting to see where you are and all the things that I'm seeing about you out there. It's really cool. So we're talking about InsurTechs, right? Treat me like, like a 9-year-old. InsurTech, I know you put these two words together. It's insurance technology. But since you've been making so many friends in that space and you're really concentrating on that space, give me kind of an overview of what InsurTech is to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think sometimes technology gets slightly overrated, and I feel like it's digitizing what was already there. There's a lot of things left to digitize in our space. I do have a couple rules. I'm going a little bit round. Before I get involved in a startup, do I trust and like the team? Because if you don't trust and like them, why work with them? Do you see the technology working somewhere else, but not insurance yet? For instance, APIs have been in aviation for, buying airplane tickets, for 20 years, but they hadn't been in insurance yet. Oh yeah, APIs seem to work. And do you think the team has a chance to be successful? Would you bet on these people, or this person? And if all three are yes, I don't like to overthink things. I don't want to get too brass tacks, but if those three buckets click, it's like, all right, let's go build something cool. Let's go work on something. When I think of InsurTech, I think of using today's tools to solve problems that have been around for as long as insurance has been around, for as long as people have been around. So instead of maintaining a legacy server in a basement, you're firing up an Amazon stack. It's just making things lighter. That's really kind of, for the most part, what it's doing. Or for instance, it's loading data, to make our lives a little easier. Then we're not looking for a fire hydrant. We're just quoting the house. It's just gonna make our life a little quicker and easier.
So InsurTech really is for the agents, right? That's what you're telling me?
More or less, but I do feel like it's also, Apple's fluidity, other things that we're used to operating in, the consumer's expecting that kind of functionality, and they're looking for that now. So it's almost like table stakes to make things clean and pretty, and I feel like that's where the customer is going to see it. But I do still think there's a place for the agent, because people can buy really bad policies and set themselves up for a lot of risk. And I think the intelligent consumer is still going to want a coach for something that they're shelling out $1,000 to $5,000 a year for,
So InsurTech is going to make it easier for a consumer to go out there and just buy their own policy without the help from an agent. Is that what you're saying?
I still think it's going to be a micro use case, though. I still see only like 5% of the population being okay to sign up for stuff without talking to anybody. And I think it'll be that way for a while. I'm okay with having client-facing tools, but as an agent, I'd want to have like guardrails. I'd want to make sure these are the lowest limits people can buy on their own. If they want lower, they can talk to me, but I don't want anybody going out the door. And I think this is an insurance show, so I can be nerdy, but with less than 50, 150. If somebody wants less than that, it's their decision, but I don't want to let them buy that without talking to them first.
At least getting that for us in our agency. I mean, when you started with us, we didn't have a lot of the rules that we do now. You came on board at a time when we kind of gave the keys to the kingdom to everybody. A little bit of background and some things that have happened at Pipeline since you've been gone. We got slapped with some appointments getting taken away from us, and we started getting hit really hard, and we had to basically go back and start over with all of our processes. And part of that is controlling and making sure that our agents are writing the right kind of business with the right carriers. To your point, we're talking about making sure that 5100 is the minimum out the door, unless we've got like waivers of liability. How can we build that into what InsurTech is doing? In other words, if the insured has that opportunity to purchase a policy without ever talking to an agent, what are we doing, or what is InsurTech doing? What are these companies doing to provide agents that so that we can still have that conversation when we need to?
They should more often than they do currently, and I do talk to people about that. I have friends who run kind of digital MGAs. I actually know CEOs of a couple bigger insurtechs, which is really cool because these companies are maturing and they really appreciate, the shout out on Twitter or whatever else. So it's really cool when these companies are growing. I don't know if we're doing enough of that yet, but I hope it'll mature into how it's facing. But what you guys have what's cool is like collective buying power. I'm one guy working with my buddy, incredibly small book of business, to be honest. So we don't get much voice right now. We have to play by the rules, work within the systems that are given us. But luckily, you guys have some agents. So, you could talk to them and say, hey, we got this group, could we do this? But we'll talk offline too. I came across a few things that are helpful, I think, in that kind of bracketing and having agents work through you,
Okay.
But, yeah.
All right. I'm open to having conversations,
Yeah. No, I don't know. I just think it's a process, and people have to prove themselves over time. And once you get a certain level, you can kind of take the handcuffs off. But yeah, I totally think it makes sense to have.
Oh yeah, that's definitely definitely our what modus operandi these days. We definitely don't want to just give away the keys to the kingdom to everybody that jumps on. We do have a 90-day training cycle. We have. Dude, I'm telling you, like, so much has changed. We've got these 90 days, and I've got my CRM tracking exactly where everybody is in the training process. We've got 30-hour sales and networking class. We've got, our 5-hour orientation. We've got training with specific carriers. We've got our commercial 101, that is still available through the micro schools, but we're actually getting it integrated into just our onboarding process. A lot of stuff going on.
An agency started out of an insurance school, dude. I think it makes so much sense. Like, marry the two. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's really all about educating and making sure that that agents, customers, everybody's got the education that's needed to be successful. We've been talking InsurTech and your agency. What are you doing? Are you using mostly these InsurTech companies in your agency, or do you have direct appointments? How are you growing?
We went through a carrier access partner, and there was a rep with them that I'd known for like a year that was super patient when it came to like time to get going with them. And and we've been happy with it so far. It definitely is like a bracketed experience where you submit, get the approval, get the client out, submit it again, get the payment info. There's a few hurdles, but we're new, and I get that. I have some experience. My buddy Ed's managed an agency, that had 6 offices. I want to say 12 people. No, maybe close to 20 people, but like a $10-12 million book. It was a marine-based agency. Mm-hmm. We have to know right now we're not bringing that much money through the door. We don't have clout. Like, we're just getting started and kind of begin with that beginner's mindset. And, right now we have little handcuffs, we're slowly starting. That's all right. You got to prove yourself,
For sure. You have a particular preference or a particular appreciation for startups. How are you finding those startups? Are you just tied in with a bunch of venture capitalists, and you how is it that you're getting all of these startups and working with them?
Well, it's a trip, and I say this as humbly as I can. People will find me, and I'll have somewhat regular inbound inquiries, and we'll kick around ideas. I've kind of learned that the really big $150 million Series A funded companies, it's pretty quick. They'll just scoot you off the board or take your ideas and leave you kind of hanging. You're like, I thought we were best friends. And so I've kind of shied away from those conversations as of late. But the little guys are just kicking around ideas. You'll have 5 or 6 conversations for everyone that sticks, and you'll have a startup that'll be there and gone in like 2 months. So you kind of have to know that these things are popping up. It's a bunch of little lottery tickets. So 1 in 100 startups gets VC funding, and 1 in 10 VC funded companies has some sort of exit. So I try not to live in it too much. I try not to over obligate myself to it, because at the end of the day, no one else is really paying my bills. I got to go out there, sell insurance, and build a business. So it's almost like a fun thing to do, but it can't be the whole life. But I'm enjoying it, and just participating in Insurance Nerds is probably the biggest one that got me out there, where I can kind of open doors and help. And the other thing is, I don't just help the startups that I have like equity in or some rev share, or even kind of a few stock options as an advisor. I try to help out people I like, because I think it makes more of an authentic voice. You can't just always have an agenda. It can't be always companies that you're tied to the bottom line somehow, because it kind of bastardizes the message a little bit. So I just try to grow it globally. Hope it helps my business. Hope it helps the people I like.
I think he's wonderful.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I love that. It's all about, how do you help as many people as possible, right? As a digital strategist for your company, what are some things that you're doing? I assume that you're on social media, you're bringing the company into light in social media. I know that you're posting on Insurance Nerds. What are some of your strategies? What are some things that you're doing out there to make sure that Newport Beach Insurance Center is top of mind and being seen everywhere?
Well, so I was kind of thinking about, because my buddy Ed's 57, ton of experience. So I want to give him president title. I'm like, dude, this guy's running ops. He's, and then I'm selling. So that's the broker side of it. I founded it. I took that off for a while. I put it back just because, I don't know, doesn't matter. The digital strategist thing, I want to find places to embed insurance opportunities where I don't even have to sell it, where the servers are turning over, but it's doing it responsibly. So using those APIs, using data integrations, and we could talk offline, but I got a couple people that can turn insurance on and off by what's going through a cash register, for instance. It's finding ways to be, we're all worried about the progressives of the world integrating with a mortgage lender. We want to be the agent that is doing the easy data transfer with people who are doing mortgages, That's why I see the digital strategy. Instead of being afraid of the monster, just become the monster and be an insurance agent and do it in a way that protects people,
If you can't beat them, join them, right?
Kind of. I don't know. Candidly, I think about it a little bit like a war, and whoever has the best tools usually wins. That's when everyone was scared of InsurTech. I was like, guys, this is just the progression of things. This is just how things go. If better tech comes along, and adapt or die. I don't mean to be brash. So the sweet, nice guy who was just talking about raising the sea level for everybody is also like, this is tough, and you got to be competitive,
I'm sorry. I took it too far.
No, it's absolutely true though. And it's both sides of it, right? On the one hand, you want to be the person, you want to be the type of business owner, you want to be the type of entrepreneur that wants to help as many people as possible. You understand that in this space, what do they say? A rising tide lifts all the ships, right? Yeah. So we're all going to benefit from all of these different tools and technologies that are coming out. But if we're an agency, if you are an agency, if we are an agency that is stuck in the past and just doesn't want to adapt, there's a good chance that we're going to get left behind. There's a lot of agencies I see out there that don't have any kind of online presence, don't use any of the, InsurTech, any of those tools that are out there. Mm-hmm. They're very much still about the network that they have, and face to face.
I'm jealous of that. I wish I had a CPA handing me business every day, or a lawyer. Like, those things aren't going anywhere, yeah. And I talk about that regularly. We need some of those like centers of influence. Like, none of the traditional stuff is going away. Mm-hmm. I just want to make sure I'm at the front of the digital line too,
Well, tell me a little bit about how you're marrying the two.
We're working on it. It's a newer agency. His background was Marine, so he's got to convince people that he knows how to write other lines of business. He really wants to focus on like classic cars, the automotive space, because he loves it. He's built cars, his friends, all those different clubs. For me, it's startups. I've insured a few startups, and then I've done like key man policies for the founders. In my mind, the startups may be small, but maybe I can do their personal lines too, really just round it out, make it worthwhile. For people watching, a lot of times agencies won't want to be involved with the company unless they can make like $5,000 commission. But the way I find it is keep your overhead low and cross-sell. That's the other thing with InsurTech. It's making life easier to sell home, auto, whatever else. I think we'll be doing more cross-selling in the future because, these systems are easier,
He ain't lying.
Yeah, it's gonna make those processes a whole heck of a lot easier, right?
Yeah.
How it sounds like you guys started this agency. Well, actually, let me just ask, when did you guys start this agency exactly?
So technically, I've had a DBA for 2 years. We probably started talking again in March, which was great timing. So
perfect timing.
Seems like personal lines is rolling, but commercial's hard right now. But that's another topic. I would say officially August was the first month we kind of tracked. And, since this is insurance audience, we had like 12 deals through the door for a total of like $17,000 in premium. So they're all small deals and like $1,700 more or less, which, he's working out of his garage. We have a small office that Fineo rents. I'm on my dining room table. So our overhead's not crazy. We're able to actually break even already, which is phenomenal. Another reason why I love this industry. You got the annuity side, you're not having to buy a CNC machine to make money. And then I've been focusing on life insurance because it's front loads of revenue, and then it's helpful for my experience to be better with Fineo. So I have like 5 life cases that I submitted recently. So that's kind of what we're doing right now. Yeah, personal lines, life, startups, and maybe auto. But yeah, commercial's been a little bit tough right now. So
yeah.
Oh, you're right. And when you're right, you're right. And you're always right.
Nah. That's my wife. No, just kidding. Yeah.
I bet that the commercial stuff has been challenging. I mean, COVID just changed everything.
Yeah.
Right? Were you expecting to like go into people's offices and be able to chat with them and present and do all that stuff?
Yeah. So I had been managing, more or less the commercial side of my friend's book. And I collected a check late March. That was the last check I took in person, but I'm used to meeting people. If you're going to ask somebody for $10,000, for the whole policy, which is not a huge policy, but it's nice to bring a printed thing. It's nice to go through. It's nice to say, this is what's covered. This is what they're saying is not covered. We included these exclusions for this reason. It's like a sign of respect. But yeah, that's kind of gone for right now, and I don't think it's a bad thing. At the end of the day, I think people are going to be driving less. We're a little bit more understanding when there's a kid or a dog running around. I think we've dropped the veil of like kind of neutered perfection, which I was always annoyed with anyways. I like that we're dealing with people more. But I do feel bad that the engines of the regular economy are slow right now, and I feel bad that's affecting people,
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
It definitely is. How do you see, the things that you're doing, the companies that you're getting involved with, these insurtech companies? How is all of this going to continue as the pandemic continues to play out. I mean, a lot of people are thinking that this thing's going to last clear into next year.
That's wild.
So how are you shifting your business, or what have you done to set yourself up for next year as this continues on?
Just take a realistic look at things. And if I can sell personal lines and life, just do that for right now. Don't fight the tide, so random. But one of the startups I'm helping, the guy wrote a white paper about how, 100 years ago when the Spanish flu hit, 30% of small businesses went bankrupt and were out of business. But as shortly as 2 years after everything passed, all those businesses were back. So we're just trying to build a real good brand, real good market presence. So that way, as things mature, we're happy to work on small business. We'll catch that in swing. So right now it's personal lines and life, still marketing for commercial, but hopefully we'll be top of mind when the engine turns back on, which it will. We're innovative, we're industrious, as a country. So just hopefully be in position when the water comes back in,
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Nice. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I know that this will pass. It's going to take whatever time that it's going to take. It's going to turn around. Things are going to get back to something resembling normal, right? Eventually. And I think that, one of the things that we've done, one of the things that we're doing is to make sure that we're getting in front of people, putting out all of this content. We are, my brother and I were working on our digital strategy, right?
Yeah.
Just like you're that digital strategist for your company. It's definitely something that we're working on. Do you use anything like ClickFunnels, or do you use the advertising on social media? Do you take advantage of those different tools?
I kind of joke, for being known as a tech guy, I operate much more like a boomer than I probably want to admit. Says my legal pad, says some Post-its I grabbed from the office today. No, not enough. I've never really had extra budget. I've never really had this random fun that I can kind of see what I can make out of it. So a lot of it has been content creation, building my own Squarespace pages, my own Squarespace forms, building kind of offshoot sites. Like I have cyberinshelp.com, like a cyber site. So I guess, it's funny. I guess I don't realize I'm doing these things. We talk about a ClickFunnels, whatever else. I guess I don't realize I'm creating a landing page. I'm just making these tools, out of what I have available,
But it's basically the same thing. As long as all you got to do is follow it up with an email campaign.
Yeah.
And it's essentially what you're doing.
Well, what I have is so I have a Broker Brews mailing list I add contacts to, and so I'll hit them with the regular cadence and try to highlight different members and help them kind of look good. And I've been lagging on that with COVID. Kind of switch more over to the podcast. But yeah, no, I feel I need to make a better collective MailChimp. So the problem I have, which is kind of interesting, is Broker Brett is slightly industry facing, even though it's a good brand. Newport Beach Insurance Center is the consumer facing that we're trying to get out there. So I'm trying to balance how I represent the two, and that's very much a modern problem,
Yeah.
A lot of potential for aggressive expansion.
I 100% feel that. I think that we have similar struggle over here at Pipeline, because there's so much of what we want to do is to grow, and we believe that some of the best ways to grow is to recruit new agents. So a lot of what we do is that agent facing. How do we make sure that our agents have an incredible experience during the onboarding process, right? We don't want, we don't want Broker Bretts to come on and be part of the team and then leave, right? We want to keep our Broker Bretts as much as possible. So when you were on, our onboarding obviously wasn't as good as it could have been. Otherwise, you would have stuck with us, and that's okay.
So I had the moving job where I was making decent money, not earth-shattering money. I respected the opportunity you guys gave me, and I had to look at stuff very brass tacks. I couldn't feed myself yet, and so, and I also, you were really great, personal lines training, getting me in the system. I knew you were available. It was fun hanging out at the holiday party, really nothing but good things to say. I just knew I wanted to do insurance full time, and I went to a place where I could get a paycheck, have a manager down a hall, and have questions answered. But, hypothetically, if I was at the moving job and enough deals were rolling in and I could pay the bills a little bit more passively, I totally would have kept riding the wave with Pipeline. It wasn't a shortcoming on your guys' end. It was more so me trying to pay the bills through a day job,
Makes sense.
Yeah, but if I was, let's just say, a realtor and I wanted to start an insurance side, or if I was a teacher, for instance, not that I've listened to any of your podcasts, but I wanted a little side hustle. I have listened to a couple lately. You guys have done great, and I feel like you're helping me be lazy and not actually have to read articles. I've just been listening to your ones about specific topics.
Oh, nice. There you go.
So,
Dude almost had you.
I commend you on the working on the homelessness. I think when you have a bigger vision than yourself, it can really propel you. That's cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, no, you guys are doing it right, man. You're doing it right. Don't pick on yourselves, and we're always improving,
Just smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
We're all our own worst critics, right?
Yeah.
So that's all it is. It's just me being real and saying, look, things were not as good back then. They're better now. They're still not perfect. They'll never be perfect. The work will never be done. But we're just always getting better. And, that's really what we want to do, is just to continue to improve, whether we're talking on the agent facing side or the customer facing side, which is, the other side of things.
Yeah.
Brett, two real quick things. First of all, as you're growing, as you're getting all this stuff, as you are growing your business and out there just kicking ass, what are some podcasts, some mentors, or some books? Like, what are your top 3 things that you are reading or listening to that's helping you get yourself up to the next level?
I'm just gonna look at my podcasts and my Audible right now, because I'm literally listening to stuff all the time. So I have been listening to you guys a fair amount lately. My podcast is a lot more free flowing, and I'll have like 2 or 3 points, but then I'll just talk. And I kind of stole that from Bill Simmons. And he says if someone's a good hang, they're a good podcast guest. So I try to find people who I have just natural rapport with. And
nice.
I'm trying to be more Orange County focused and startup focused with that, where Insurance Nerds was more industry focused. Then there's, some good personal development ones. Freakonomics is always fun.
Oh yeah.
I look at podcasts as like kind of development or get out of your head for a little bit. And it's funny, but it's almost like medicine. Like sometimes I'll re-listen to Anthony Bourdain's Kitchen Confidential because you want something kind of like lewd and fun and distracting. Even downloaded Goofy Matthew McConaughey's book yesterday because he ended up on every platform. It's pretty good so far. But I listened to one about taking a company public, and I'll listen to other ones. The $1 Trillion Coach was really cool about this guy, Bill Campbell. So I kind of oscillate between heady and just dumb and kind of relaxing, and still have a soft spot for some like little personal development kind of cheesy stuff too,
Perfect. I love it. All right. Last thing for our listening audience. Okay. We're going to have it scrolling across the bottom, but for the listening audience, tell us how we can get in touch with you. What's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, so brokerbrett.com is a nice little hub site. You can go there for insurance. You can go there for InsurTech conversations. It'll have all my links. But yeah, so broker, then Brett with 2 T's.com. And I'll probably just leave that there. My LinkedIn, actually, the tail of it's Broker Brett, but you can find me Brett Fulmer, and pretty active on Twitter as well. And I think that's a great place to nerd out about our industry, and some of my best contacts have came from there. So, but I appreciate you having me on, James. And yeah, I was having fun watching what you guys are up to. And yeah, congrats, man. Keep growing. Keep getting after it.
Thanks so much, man. And you do the same thing. Like I said, I've seen a lot of awesome growth from you since you were with us, a few years back, reading a lot and just seeing you out there. It's really exciting. And I'm happy for you, man.
Appreciate it, man. Likewise. Thanks for helping me get started. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. All right. Everybody else listening, thank you so much. As always, please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. If you want to be a guest on the show, go to www.insurancebroshow.com/guest. Would love to have you on and learn from you as well. And don't forget to follow me on all my social media at Insurance Bro Show. That does it for us today, ladies and gentlemen. As always, you rock my socks. You have my heart.
Have a nice day!
Thank you for tuning in to the Insurance Bro Show. James is the CEO of the Pipeline team of San Diego and is always in the market for top talent. If you're an agent looking for a place to hang your license, visit www.pipelineinsurance.com/agent opportunities or send an email to newagent@pipelinesurance.com.